Hi, everyone. Welcome to Curated by Becta's Meal Kit number 91 for March 9th to the 12th. Thanks so much for ordering this week, and thank you for letting us be a part of your very special celebration at home. We've got a beautiful and really interesting menu for you tonight. A lot of southern and tropical flavors. We've got jerk pork. We've got Matane shrimp with a southern classic, which is pimento cheese. This is one of Chef Rich's passions. And we've got some coconut with our coconut cake and coconut chantilly. Anyway, lots of really delicious things, and it's very easy to put together. So why don't we go ahead and get started? I've got my carrots that I'm putting in the oven. They've been roasted already, and you're going to roast them a little bit more with 1 tablespoon of either canola or grapeseed or vegetable oil per person. Give them a toss of salt and pepper on there and in the oven for 12 minutes with a roasting pan and some parchment paper. Hey Google, set a timer for 11 minutes.
Sure, 11 minutes, starting now.
So I'm gonna go ahead and get some pans heated, as Chef Rich says. So medium high. First, we've got a heavy bottom pan, in my case, a cast iron pan, which is key. I'm a huge fan of the cast iron. If you don't have one, check it out. 1 tablespoon of canola oil or other neutral oil per person, grapeseed oil in my case, per person, and get that nice and heated. I am also going to heat up the appetizer pan. We've got some sourdough bread, and we're going to butter at both sides, and we're going to fry it up there. I also have going on, let's see, our Scotch bonnet and squash puree. So Scotch bonnet is a super hot pepper, and we've only put a little bit in this, so don't be nervous that it's going to be too much. And then I've also got a succotash with corn and white beans, and that's going on with half a tablespoon of butter per person, unsalted, and they're both warming up. And we've got a number of directions in there for you in terms of number of minutes. I think there's 5 minutes for both of these. I'm gonna, just because I want to take my time, I'm gonna warm them up on slightly lower for a longer period of time, but just make sure that you mix them a little bit. The pork tenderloin has been already marinated in the jerk spice, and it's already been done sous vide. So cut it out of the bag. You don't need to pat it on a paper towel because you want the extra juice. And as soon as the pan gets hot, we're going to throw that in there. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and butter both sides of our sourdough with some unsalted butter here. A good way to do this is butter one side, throw it in the pan. I'm sure you guys have made French toast before. It's a very similar thing, but we're going to fry it up so that both sides have a nice goldenness to it. I've just melted my butter in the microwave. I know a gas, he has a microwave. Sure do. Don't use it very often, but for melting butter in this way, it is a great thing to do. I put it in for about 20 seconds and away we go. All right, but keep your basting brush because you're going to need it for the pork afterwards, and you've got the extra jerk spice going on for that. So while the pans are warming up, let me tell you about this wine. I'm not going to try to pronounce it because I'm going to just butcher it. It's a beautiful white from Greece, and it's a blend of Chardonnay and a Greek variety, Ronditis. And you know what? I was really surprised and delighted by this wine when I tried it just a couple minutes ago. It is looking really great. I should pay attention. 45 seconds per side, but I don't think my pan was super hot, so I'll probably go a little bit longer on the first side. Now the pork pan is smoking a little. So it is ready to go. I have my tongs ready, and let's see how long for that. 90 seconds on each side. Then we're going to turn the pan off and brush with the jerk sauce, and then we're going to bake in the oven for 5 minutes. So 90 seconds each side. Make sure it's not sticking. There we go. I'm going to use different tongs, which don't have pretty raw pork juice in it, to flip that. Yeah, let's give the squash puree, a little stir, and then I'm going to need a different spoon. Actually, I've got another one of these lovely plastic spatulas so I don't wreck my non-stick pans or pots. I'm going to turn this guy up a little bit. And got a nice little sear on there. So I'm going to give it a toss over. If you really want to get fancy, you can probably sear 4 sides to it, but we're going to focus on 2 sides. While that's happening, why don't I go ahead and plate our dessert, or at least start to plate our dessert, see if I can get it done in time. So we've got our coconut cake. We're going to top with the chantilly and the caramel. All kinds of ooey gooey deliciousness. I'm a huge fan of caramel. I just love it. Okay, the pork is probably not the 90 seconds, so we're going to turn that off. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot. I need to turn this. I'm glad I didn't leave it too long. It's got a nice golden brown crust. Hey Google, set a timer for 5 minutes.
Setting timer for 5 minutes. And starting now.
Keep giving these guys a little stir. Okay, and then I know that with, and I'm going to turn my pan off for my sourdough because we're going to finish plating this and then I'm going to start working on my appetizer. Don't want it to burn. And so the chantilly goes on. See if you can get a little peek out of it. Very nice. So there is our coconut cake with toasted coconut chantilly and rum caramel. See how we're doing on this guy. Probably use another little second or two. I know that I have to do some stuff to the succotash. So let me read my instructions. We're after the 5 minutes, which we're pretty close now. We're going to mix the Swiss chard and cook for 2 more minutes. So the Swiss chard is nice and julienne. So mix it right in there with the butter. And we're going to go ahead and add the salt and pepper at this point. Oh, wow. I just realized I missed the jerk spice on my pork. Aren't I a bad chef or bad follower? Put that on there. Toss it around. More jerk spice on the backside. I don't think this will screw mine up, but I really hope that you guys don't miss it. And that's all we need for the brush. Steve's bloopers. This goes on the Steve's bloopers reel for sure. Okay, the sourdough with the butter is all nice and toasted. There we go. Give this little guy a stir. So room temperature, very important, by the way, for this stuff. So I believe that the pimento cheese goes down first. Top with shrimp. Yes, the pimento cheese on top. And in case you're wondering what pimento cheese is, it is sort of a relish spread. So it's got pickled pimentos, it's got cheese, in this our case cheddar, and then mayonnaise to make it super creamy. I think they call it something like Carolina caviar, because it is something that is enjoyed so much down in the south. Spread that around, make sure that everything is nice and even. Have a little taste. That was good stuff. Okay. Yes, this is the tongs that I used for not the pork. Very important we don't mess that up. And then we've got this gorgeous Matane shrimp from the Gaspé region of Quebec. So local as much as we can, since we don't have any shrimp in Ottawa that I'm aware of. Put that on top, and if it spills over the side a little bit, that's okay. Beautiful color. And we'll clean up the plate in just a second. And then next, we've got then the celery, and then finally the scallions. There we go. And our red wine tonight, for those of you who are lucky enough to be doing the pairings, is a lovely Malbec from the Cahors region of France. And it is a meaty, smoky, delicious red. Hey Google, off. That's our pork timer. That is looking good. And you know what? I'm going to use, now that the pork is cooked, different tongs in order to move it along. And I'm going to let that rest. Hey Google, off. So my timing was maybe a little off on this. So that was at 11 minutes. For that, I'm just going to turn the oven off, and it is going to keep the carrots warm while the pork rests. I should have seared the pork off a little bit earlier to let it rest so that you're not waiting through the video. But in the meantime, let me finish up this appetizer, and I'm going to slice the pork probably a little early, because why do you want to wait around for me to do this? In the meantime, if you're watching this, I'm going to be going on vacation this Friday. Can't wait. Somewhere warm down south. And so next week's meal kit video, I actually recorded last year. We went to a very popular meal kit that we did last March, and we're going to redo that and redo the video. And I'm just going to record a little new intro because I think I should take a week off with my family. Can't wait. Anyway, in the meantime, a Matane shrimp toast with the sourdough, the pimento cheese, pickled celery, and scallions. It's looking pretty nice. You know what? I'm just going to make it a little more pretty before we do it. Because again, I'm filling air a little bit while the pork is resting. All right, there we go. I hope my wife gets back from her appointment in time for her to enjoy this lovely meal while it is warm. Okay, squash puree looking good. Oh, Alabama barbecue sauce. That was the other thing I forgot. Wow, I'm really on fire today. We're just going to give that a stir at the end. I know I seasoned it already with salt and pepper. The puree does not need salt and pepper. And let's see how we're going to plate this. The puree first in the center of the plate, and we're going to flatten it. Just a little bit of heat from the Scotch bonnets. A little goes a long way, as they say. By the way, I hope some of you have had a chance to correspond with our new manager of Curated, Melissa. She is terrific. She started with us last week, and yeah, what a passion for customer service. And she's just so fun and interesting and positive. It's a beautiful thing to have around. And so Please, if you have any special requests at all, reach out to us at yum@becta.com, and Melissa will hook you up. All right, so now I know the carrots are going to be next. And by the way, we're going to turn that off. Thank God I have a bunch of these little tongs. So the carrots are going to go on one side, and the succotash, one of my favorite things in the world, I can't believe I almost forgot the name of it, is going to go on the other side. So our parchment pan can go over there. And let's get on with this stuff. Let's see if I can make sure that the Swiss chard gets divided nicely. And again, if you've watched this before, you'll know that, that my wife comes along and divides this afterwards into 3 portions for our son. And she kind of split one and I ate another. Voila. And now you can hit up the pork tenderloin, or the pork loin, tenderloin. Now you're going to try to find the grain, and you're going to slice against it to make it nice and tender. You want it just a tiny little bit pink, so the equivalent of medium if you're looking at a steak. There we are. And when you slice it against the grain, it makes it super tender. And one thing you can do if you like to see more of the pink pork, is just turn the last piece over. And we're going to do a little salt and pepper on there. So there was our lovely jerk pork tenderloin with the roasted carrots, the squash and Scotch bonnet puree, our white bean and corn succotash with the Swiss char, and the Alabama barbecue sauce. I hope I got it all. Thanks very much for ordering this week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of our curated experience, and I hope you love your meals, and I hope we get to cook and curate for you again really soon.